I'm Mrs. Williams, and today I'm going to demonstrate what a mole is. I know what you're thinking. It's that nasty hairy thing on the back of your Aunt Mildred. That's not exactly right. A mole is just a way to describe a number. When you look at these two socks, what do you think? Most people think a pair of socks. It's a way to describe a number. When we look at these 12 Q-tips, most people would say that's a dozen Q-tips. Again, a way to describe a number. So a mole is just another way to describe a number. How do we determine what a mole is? We use the atomic mass of a substance, which is in the unit grams, to determine the molar mass of the substance. The molar mass is the unit grams per mole. That means that the number of grams in the atomic mass of a substance is a mole. Let's look at some different substances that are in a common chemistry class and can be found in your home. First, get our safety equipment. We have our safety apron, our safety gloves, and our safety goggles. Although we're not using any volatile or hazardous substances today, it's good practice to use protective equipment just so that it becomes second nature when you're in the chemistry lab. Now let's look at these different substances. In order to measure a mole of salt, we need to determine the chemical composition of the substance. We know that table salt is sodium chloride. This is composed of a sodium ion and a chlorine ion, and they're held together by ionic bonding. Now, a sodium ion, if you look at the periodic table, has a mass of 35.5 grams. And a chlorine ion has a mass of 23 grams. Now if you add those two together, you have 58.5 grams. And that would be the molar mass of sodium chloride. So I'm going to demonstrate how we would measure that in the lab. So first you have a digital scale. And I'm going to use a beaker, and I'm going to tare the scale, and that's just where I hit zero or clear or tear on the scale, and that zeroes the balance, that makes the balance go to zero, so that the scale doesn't account for the weight or the mass of the beaker. And then I'm going to add salt to the beaker. I already have a pretty good guesstimate. There we go. 38.5 grams of salt. Okay, so here's salt, and I've measured out a couple other common substances. This is 18 grams of water, and this is 342.3 grams of sugar. Each of these is a mole. That means that each of these has 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. So that's what a mole is measuring, is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. And since each of these has a mole, they each have the same exact number of atoms. Now going back to our pair of socks, you can also look and see that this is a pair. This is two items, which makes it a pair. Again, a pair is just a way to describe a number, just like a mole is the way to describe a number. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's how big or how small. It's just the size of the atoms in the mole. Thank you for watching my demonstration. The end.